Hey guys. So, what I was going to talk about today is how critical it is for your nervous system to be regulated in order to come into this space of receiving. And the reason it's so critical is because your vibrational frequency literally is your currency. And what is your vibrational frequency? It's the rate at which your physical body, well, you yourself are vibrating at, right? And that is based off of your emotions. So there's emotional scale you can look up that's aligned with that I mentioned yesterday. But so when you're in a certain frequency, so say it's a lower frequency like grief, anger, resentment, things like that. When you're in that frequency, you're not a match to the vibrational frequency of receiving. Well, you are always receiving something, okay? You're always, the energy you put out is coming back. But what you want to receive is what I should say. So like you're not a vibrational match to the things, these positive things that you want to manifest in your life. They're on a different frequency than anger, grief, and resentment. They're on the frequency of joy, reciprocity, alignment. Like they're on a different frequency, okay? So, an authenticity is how trying to expand and be more authentic. That's what we came here for. So, embodying that is how you will get into these higher frequencies because you'll be more self-confident. Your self-worth will raise. You're self-sourcing that love. But it's like, how do we get there? And that's the most frustrating part for a lot of people on the ascension journey because you cannot fake it till you make it. You know how you could go to college and you wanted to like get a good grade on the test in order to achieve that goal. You could like cram all this information in, but not really learn it. You didn't learn the concepts and stuff. You just learned enough to memorize and then do a decent job on the test. Like you can't do that with the universe. You can't fake it with the universe. The universe reads your energy. The universe it's the real. Like it is what it is. There's no hiding. There's nowhere to hide. That's why like integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's watching. They say that because like a lot of people just go all willy-nilly when nobody's watching thinking it doesn't matter, and that all catches up to you karmically. And so like, but when it comes to the spiritual community, a lot of people like they want to like bring in the power of a vision board and all these kinds of things and focusing on what you want. And that's absolutely it. But you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to really be able to super hone in your focus if you have a bunch of emotional baggage and trauma that you never address. So like it's all well and good to watch the movie The Secret and learn about the law of attraction, but like really it doesn't mean a damn thing, and you can't use it to its fullest potential unless you clear that energetic space in order to receive something. Unless you peel back the layers and get rid of this old version of you that you've been operating from for years, for your whole life, and been programmed into in order to create that space to receive things in your life. And so how do we figure out like what we need to work through? And how do we not be hard on ourselves for like when we work through those things, allowing all the emotions to come up and to not judge yourself for it, to not go into these really deep self-worth wounds where we get stuck there. How do we get into this detached place where we can allow those emotions to come up and understand them for what they really are, where they came from, why they're happening, what's this trigger mean, blah, 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 right? Go through all of that and really understand it. Recognize, oh, this was rooted with this issue with one of my parents. And I understand that they're like that. And they raised me in that environment because their parent did this. And the more you get detached, the more you can empathize with other people, but set healthy boundaries and stop resenting people, stop being angry at people, stop being sad about things that happen. Why? Because you really worked through it. You've expanded your awareness around the trauma. You've allowed those emotions to come up without letting them, like devour you. So you have to run and go use a coping mechanism as a substance or whatever your coping mechanism is. Distraction is mostly, and most coping mechanisms are distractions. So yeah, so like recognizing like there's a certain vibrational frequency that you have to be in order to receive all these things that you want. And to recognize that the things that you want now from this lower frequencies, from this old identity, are going to change. That's why it's really important to surrender to spirit and your faith in the ascension process. So you can allow spirit to get you aligned with a higher timeline where you're consciously not even aware yet of what is going to be there. It's like this unknown thing because you're not in the frequency of it yet, but you trust spirit and you're doing the trust fall. You're not trying to control life through the ego to what you think it should be, because most of the thought processes that are coming from the ego are all programmed. They're all programmed and they're all survival mode. They're all other people doing the same things because other people are doing it. They're all trying to fit everyone in the same box. It's all of that. But like this deep recognition of like, there's a higher timeline version of me. There's a more expansive version of me that exists on a certain frequency. And I can't embody and come into that frequency until I let go of this old version of me, until I let go of these old belief systems, these old patterns and cycles that I've been repeating my whole life through my behavior and calling it my personality, when really it's just like an old version of you that's clinging on for dear life, that's really just trying to make it in this world that is just a blueprint that doesn't even suit who you are authentically. And then just like arguing for your own limitations, supporting things that don't support you, like the whole toxic cycle, not realizing, thinking the whole time that you're working towards what you really want in life, not realizing you don't even know what you really want in life yet. You haven't even connected to spirit to get quiet enough to really bring in the energy of what you really want. And what you really want, like I said before, is something you haven't even thought of. So that fear of the unknown is going to be there too, because we want to be so sure about things that makes us feel safe. But when you can get so sure about your connection to spirit and so sure about your faith in this universe and yourself and your ability to detach and embody this new version of you, and understanding that free fall into the unknown, knowing spirit's going to catch your back, that spirit has your back and is going to catch you and really bring in exactly what you need in order to expand and grow. That's where the energy has to be. That's where the focus has to be. Because even when you're sitting there, you get to this point when you're like sitting there feeling empty, like you've detached, there's nothing there, you're in the middle of this transition, you realize there's always this deep, ancient wisdom, love, kindness with you at all times, this connection to spirit, this access to the all that is, this access to every divine gift that you've acquired in every past life, all of that. And like asking spirit to support you and love you and help you. And like watching that co-creative process take place through synchronicity and other people coming in and out, and like different messages come through. It's like the magic in it when you really start flowing with the journey and doing the work, the healing work. You get to have that personal spiritual experience, and that builds momentum in that faith. It builds momentum in the free fall and the trust fall in the universe. It builds momentum in that co-creative process. And now the momentum and the focus is really flowing, and you're able to bring forth and co-create this new timeline. And that is only possible if you really allow yourself to recognize what this journey is, what it means, and what you have to do in order to receive, which is raise your vibrational frequency by doing the healing work, by becoming more aware of yourself and everything around you, by becoming more aware of what's best for you, by building this relationship with spirit so your discernment is so on point, nothing phases you. Things come in because contrast happens. That's life no matter what timeline you're on. But it's about the response, the frequency you respond from. That's how you know you've expanded, because then life is less stressful. Why? Not because stressful things don't happen, but because you're coming from a frequency that doesn't get, like, the whole world doesn't end because something stressful happens. Your nervous system doesn't start going haywire because something bad happens. Your nervous system says, wait a second. Spirit has me in this moment. This is happening for a reason. Where can I expand? How can I see this from the most expansive point of view? So I'm able to understand why it's coming into my experience right now. That experience, that contrast is always a gift. Then you start realizing everything's a gift, whether we as humans perceive it that way or not. And you will start perceiving that way as you raise your vibrational frequency. And that's a beautiful thing about being connected with spirit. Like, you're never forgotten about. You're the one that forgets about spirit and forgets to align and forgets to use discernment. And that's when you get off path. It's when you get distracted and forget. You are never forgotten about by spirit, ever. Ever. Spirit wishes you would reach out more. Spirit wishes you would connect more and be more present and be more aware that you are the one that is being intentional in every moment, right? You actually have to choose to be intentional, because some people, when you're distracted and all willy-nilly and just letting the program run you, you're not intentional. You're on a freaking hamster wheel, looping in trauma and drama and playing out. Like, every time you run away from, even if you're avoiding, every time you run away from a situation, you just run back into another one with another environment. And it's the same old trauma. The universe is bringing around, asking you to respond in a different way in order to expand. And most people just keep looping their whole lives because they've normalized their own chaos. They've normalized their trauma, their personality, and they've had everyone around them normalize that about them, to the point where they have accepted this character that they're playing for themselves and others in this whole world is who they are. And they just keep looping and looping and looping and looping, and not even knowing the expansion that is possible and that they actually came here for. And it's sad to watch people go through it, but we're not here to save people. We're here to raise our own frequency so we can be the beacon of light that lights the path for them to use their own free will and choice to make their own decisions. And if you light up, the more you work on yourself and go inward and light up the path, the healthier it is for them. It's not actually you enabling them through always people pleasing. It's not you agreeing with them or picking up the phone when they want you to, or being controlled or manipulated in any way. Pleasing somebody, you're not helping them. What you would do to help, the best thing you can do, and I said this yesterday too, it's like the same, similar messages come through because they need to be heard. But like, when you try to save somebody or help somebody or give them a ton of advice, you usually are just enabling them, because nobody wants to hear anything. All the epiphanies have to come from them. All the big, deep moments where people hit rock bottom and they connect with spirit, that has to come from this dark place alone, just like it did for us. Like, people have to do the work. We cannot just like give them a free pass. That's not what a light worker is here to do. A light worker is here to shine a light on the path, to do the work themselves, to say, hey, I can do it. You can do it. Here's how I did it. You went through similar things. You resonate with me. You understand, right? So I'll show you how I did it, but I can't just give you a free pass. Like, I give you 100% on a test you didn't even take. That's called cheating. And the universe knows that. The universe reads the energy. There is no like I said before, there's no faking it till you make it on this ascension journey. It literally is like you doing the healing work, raising your frequency so you're a vibrational match to receive other things on that frequency. And you can choose a higher frequency or a lower frequency, or you can choose to continuously expand in exponential ways. I feel like we are always expanding because energy is always moving and changing. So even if it's just incrementally, there is expansion taking place. But on a whole, most people are just looping. Like, even if there's like a little expansion within the looping that might take place for a lot of people who are stuck, and it's so incremental that they don't even tell half the time. But at the end of the day, people have to use their own free will and have their own epiphanies. They have to want it for themselves. It's like, you ever meet a lot of people, like, you can give them a bunch of advice, but they have to think of the idea. They have to think of the idea for it to be a good idea. There's a lot of people like that. And like, it's everybody though, really. Like, when the ideas come from me, and they were like sourced from me, they feel better, right? It's just that connection to spirit. It came from you. That's why other people's advice is the worst thing you could do, is listen to it, even though I'm giving you advice right now. But it's from a place of me healing and through personal experience. I'm just sharing things that I know based off of my personal experience and my connection to spirit and what I'm called to do, right? So in that way, I'm shining my light. But really, like, your epiphanies are going to come from you. Other people's epiphanies are going to come from their own selves. And that's where the authentic version comes online. It's not me giving someone else advice. I'm not them in terms of like specifically what you should do. Like, I'm not going to go out there and be like, you should be a chef and you should marry this person, all that. That's control and that's ego. And that's saying, I know better for you than you know for yourself. But when there's a teacher out there, and this is what Spirit calls me to teach because it is what Spirit called me to do for myself. That teacher should point you inward, not give you a big list of rules. That teacher points you right back into yourself and says, connect with Spirit. Connect with Spirit so you know the answers for you. So you know the healing that you need to do. And that's the most challenging thing because that's not what our culture and everything really pushes. It's like this research I'm doing with a lot of the lost books of the Bible. It's like, why did they take those out? A lot of what I'm reading is because a lot of the scripture was pointing people inward. It was trying to tell them how to like go inside, look at the darkness, look how you fell from the light, look how, et cetera, et cetera. And it was just like, it's interesting how they didn't want us to know this. They didn't want us to know these things. So we go in and heal and expand. Like, that's what we came here to do. And they're trying to hide that from us and distract us in so many ways and poison us and invert our total organic nature. And all that right now is getting flipped on its ass. It's fun to watch, but it's scary. It's exciting and horrible at the same time because the breakdown is, man, you're breaking down. Like, things are dying and whole systems are crumbling to the ground. People with it, it's like a very challenging process to witness. But in the same breath, it's like, wow, because of that breakdown, we are able to usher in this new energy, this new reality, this new timeline, these new versions of us, this new collective effort to make the world a better place, right? And that's all vibration. It's all vibration, like getting into this energy collectively on a vibration where we manifest a new way of being based off of our collective consciousness expanding. And isn't it interesting how a lot of people are getting into off-gridding and natural ways of being and all that's no coincidence. That's the collective rising to the occasion of the vibrational frequency raising on this earth. And that's where it's at. It's getting back to more traditional ways of being, self-sufficiency, coming from a more organic space instead of programmed, processed, and toxic, And so like we're all raising into that vibrational frequency with our own free will. And we're being pulled out of this convenience hustle culture into this more present, organic way of being, interacting with nature, less busy and more present, right? And it's just like, remember what frequency is. Remember that your nervous system and your emotional state of being plays a very large role in how you expand in this world. And if you haven't handled the emotional stuff, if you haven't peeled back the layers and let go of this old version of you who still holds heavy emotions like resentment and guilt and shame and anger and sadness and grief and all these things that you didn't address, like those are the things that are going to help. Once you peel back the layers and let go of those weighted things that are weighing you down, it will help your energy lift. It will help your frequency raise so you're able to step into a higher vibrational state of being and usher this new timeline in individually and collectively. And what a beautiful message from Spirit today, just reminding us what it is, reminding us of the nuts and bolts of it, that how we feel is all that matters. And how, and to get to that space, it's through connection with Spirit. It's through knowing that you self-source your love, knowing that the authentic version of you is going to come from in here, that connection in here, knowing that the outside world doesn't have the answers. The inside world does, right? Oh, I love you guys. I love you so much. And I really hope this message helped today. It really helped me. Like sometimes I need these reminders for myself, and I need to remember what matters the most, and it's how I'm responding and being present and just really stepping up in every single day and every moment and just trying my best and being my best version, and most importantly being easy on myself, right? Our culture kind of makes it so we're not that easy on ourselves. And you guys have gone through a lot. It's been a long journey. It's a long time coming. Let's usher in this new timeline. Let's default these higher frequencies into our system so we're emotionally available to life, right? We're in a frequency of receiving, and we have a regulated nervous system. You know, what a concept, right? That we finally get to just be happy, be content, be satisfied with that. This is a good life, and we appreciate being here, and we're excited to be on the journey and expanding and shining our light and on the path for others, that's that solid state we want to get to. And we are there. A lot of us are there. We've done the healing work. We have to still in some ways detach from our past, but it's coming along, guys. So take it easy on yourself. Take a lot of rest time right now. It's really it's rough. It's rough. And keep your eyes out for people who are kind of might pop in and cling to somebody who's more emotionally grounded in a time where it's kind of tough. So keep your boundaries high but healthy, and with grace in a loving space, All right, guys. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next one.